Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit in current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof of your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest and repeat offender. Welcome back, Beef Wellington Pendell. How are you, buddy?
Hey there, Ron. How's it going today? Boy, I tell you, interesting world, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of fun. Hey, let me remind you, if you ever have any more finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Well, I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money. I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. It's not Get Your Hair on Fire Day, but we're going to talk about that, especially if you are in the real estate world. National AG Day, not Attorney General. Agriculture is what we're talking about here. Spring begins today. Okay. A backyard day.
It is what it is.
Certified Nurses Day. Okay, we like that one. National Poultry Day. I don't know about that. Let's just go straight to my favorite because I have beaten anorexia. I think I'm going to get a T-shirt that says I've beaten anorexia. It comes in 4X large, believe it or not. National Chocolate Caramel Day. Looks pretty good. Hey, let's take a look at what the markets are doing today. Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 208 points. The S&P 500 is up 3.5. NASDAQ down 37. Oil is up another 99 cents a barrel. And the 10-year Treasury down a little bit, 4.31. And we're going to finally, Japan is finally going to have their equivalent to the 10-year Treasury is not going to be negative. Did you hear that one this morning? That's why some of the markets are moving in a positive manner. So we're watching all of that. But today we're going to chat a little bit about something. Well, we're going to talk a lot about the biggest news in the real estate world. And does it mean everything that they say it means? Or are there a lot of people that are maybe worried about something they shouldn't be worried about? Now, if you recall Halloween trick or treat last year, I don't think a lot of realtors will say that this was a big treat. It might have been a trick. We'll see. But got a settlement or a decision after a very, very short period of time of deliberations stating that lawyers get paid a lot of money. That's basically all that the settlement said. Lawyers make a lot of money. The case was about buyers' commissions and maybe prices being inflated on properties because buyers were being charged a commission. It's fascinating. So, yes, Dave, you are right. He is a legend in his own mind. Dave Silva says that legend beef.
Wow, Dave, you are my man.
Okay, so your Starbucks gift card is on the way. So we'll make sure that Beef gets that off to you. But the bottom line here, so what was this all about? So there was a lawsuit in Missouri. Did it change the entire real estate complexion? There's a lot of people that think it has. Now, my guest this morning is a big fan of the California Association of Realtors. Not, I will say that. They kind of have this love-hate relationship. They love to hate each other. But we're going to talk about that as well. But the bottom line here is the lawsuit was $1.8 billion. And then because of the way the laws go, the damages could be tripled. Now, do you think the National Association of Realtors or any of these companies have $5 billion that they could pay in a settlement? No more than Donald Trump has $454 million in liquid cash sitting there. I would say that this was probably an overstatement of what could have happened in Missouri, but I digress. So the lawsuit comes out. We're sitting on this lawsuit, wondering what's going to happen to it. And all of a sudden, last Friday, we get news that there is a settlement in the lawsuit. A settlement in the lawsuit. What does that mean? Well, it means that the National Association of Realtors, the plaintiffs, they're the ones that think they're going to get some money, but they won't. And the Department of Justice all get together and they settle the suit. It's a proposed settlement agreement. It is not concrete at this point. It is a proposed. If you look all over the news, you're seeing that there's a settlement agreement. No, it's a proposal. What does the proposal say? Buyer's agent compensation can be paid by the buyer. Can be paid. Buyer's agent compensation can be negotiated into the offer. Remains to be seen how underwriting guidelines are going to be impacted. Could raise the cost for buyers. Think about this one. If the way most people are portraying this is true, do you realize that the biggest class of people that gets hurt by it are veterans? Because underwriting guidelines for VA loans says that the veteran cannot pay a real estate commission. Now, I'm going to digress here a little bit because anybody that understands anything about business realizes whoever the buyer is, they're the one that's paying the bill. Now, it could come out of somebody else's pocket, but do you think a seller is going to say, okay, I'm not really selling my house, but I'm going to pay the buyer's commission anyway? No. It's when the buyer buys the property, part of that is commissions going to the agents. Now, there have been agents that have done great jobs. There have been agents that have done crappy jobs. We all know that. But in any industry, there's people that do real good. There's people that don't do real good. The bottom line here is we're going to have to do some adapting and understanding what does this agreement, this settlement really mean, and who's it against? Who's it enforceable against? So when you look at any class action lawsuit, they're done almost always with a contingency. The attorneys, if they take on the case, the only time an attorney takes a case on a contingency is if they're 95% or more certain they're going to win, because they're putting out money. They're not getting paid anything, but they're going to hit the jackpot. It's better than hitting the lottery because they get to decide, do I want to play or not? And if I play, I win. So in this case, the attorneys are probably going to get somewhere between 30 and 40% of the proceeds plus expenses. The plaintiffs, the people they're representing, have you ever got a class action lawsuit like from Verizon or somebody and it says, fill out all these paperwork. You're going to have to fill out dozens of pages so that you can get your $5.10 check. Well, that's what's going to happen here also. So the attorneys are going to get hundreds of millions. Plaintiffs get next to nothing. Sellers are going to wonder what's going on. The National Association of Realtors, they're going to pay the bill. Large real estate companies are going to pay a bill. I'm not going to throw this out there, but if you look at yesterday's stock prices, CoStar, they work heavily with listings. Their stock price went up. Zillow, they work with buyers. Their stock price went down. But we're going to get into a lot of that and more with our guest because he is an industry expert. He trains thousands and thousands of people every year in the real estate space. And he comes up with some ideas that really, really help the industry And for that reason, my opinion, he's probably one of the most feared people by the California. So maybe they feel threatened. The California Association of Realtors, these organizations feel threatened because he looks at things from a more pragmatic way. We're going to talk with Beef Wellington Pendell when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. You can reach me anytime off air, number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Hey there, friends. Wondering if now is the right time to buy a home? Or are you waiting for a bunch of foreclosures? The facts speak loud and clear. Defaults and foreclosures are down. Sure, we might be headed towards a recession. But did you know interest rates typically drop and real estate values often go up during a recession? So what are you waiting for? Higher prices or higher payments? Don't navigate these waters alone. Connect with RonSiegelRadio.com today. That's RonSiegelRadio.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, our team at Geneva does put every listing that we work with on TV now, on TV. So it's a great new tool we have from our friends at the lending team at Geneva. Every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They do not tell us points paid, points received, or APR. They tell us the locked rate, which is what is used when calculating your payments. 30-year loans, those were up a little bit, 6.901. 30-year jumbos, 7.167. 30-year FHA, 6.715. 30-year USDA, 6.758. And the best loan on the market, that is the 30-year VA loan, 6.668. If you want our commentary about what's happening in the mortgage world, every morning we put that out as early as the data allows. rsrmarketminute.com, rsrmarketminute.com. Let's see what's going on today in the markets. We are looking at the S&P 500 is now up 2.51. 10-year Treasury down 2 basis points. Mortgage-backed securities are up 11 basis points, which means that interest rates are down just a little bit, not enough to really even think about. So I told you earlier, the Bank of Japan ended their negative interest rate policy, hiking rates to a range of 0 to 0.1. First hike in 17 years. They also ended their yield curve control program where they would buy 10-year Japanese treasuries anytime it rose above a certain level. Fed focus. We're going to watch what's going on at the Fed. They start their meetings today. They will tell us what their thoughts are tomorrow. We'll look at the dot plot from them as well. Unemployment rate indicators are still showing. Don't tell this to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Remember, that is the BS group that I tell you about all the time. Unemployment rate rose to 3.9% in the latest jobs report for February, which is significant. Not only is it highest level we've seen in over 2 years, it's now 0.5% above the cycle low back in April of 2023. Whenever we get 0.5% above the cycle low, it tells us we're either in a recession or we'll be there within 3 months. I told you, per Danielle DiMartino Booth, as of October 2023, the employment numbers show that we are in a recession. Now, remember, they change all the metrics for it all the time, so who knows what they'll say, especially when you're dealing with the BS department. Housing starts and permits rebounded from the big decline we saw in January. Surprise, surprise, another change that they got it wrong. Rising 10.7% in February to 1.52 million unit annualized pace. Starts are now up 5% year over year. Single-family starts, which are the most important, rose 11.6% to 1.13 million unit annualized pace. Building permits, which is future supply, rose 1.9% to 1.52 million. And we're seeing a shift from multifamily to single family, which is where we need the supply. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Hold your cheers, ladies and gentlemen of all ages, because when he gets rolling, there is nobody like our friend Beef Wellington Pendell, and he's got some thoughts on the National Association of Realtors, DOJ, Sitzer, Moeller, all these other names, the settlement. Good morning, Beef.
Good morning, Ron.
So,
how you doing?
Good. So tell me, everyone's going crazy on this whole
They are.
lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
And, you look at some of these organizations and they're talking about, okay, the world is going to change and everybody has to change how they're doing business.
Yep.
And you say?
I say wrong. Dead wrong. Everybody's got it wrong, 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 wrong.
So why would we say that, okay, Beef has it right and everybody else is wrong?
Well, let me ask you a quick question. All these people are saying, well, the business just dropped out. The sky is falling. And I'm listening to these pundits on TV, on YouTube, and all over the place, and they're saying buyer's agency commission is now no longer. The 6% commission model doesn't exist anymore. Where in the lawsuit, where in the settlement does it say that? It doesn't say that anywhere in that lawsuit. It doesn't even say it anywhere in the settlement. The commission structure that we have is still in place. The only thing that we have lost, the only thing that is changing is in some MLSs, which are the ones owned by the National Association of Realtors, which means realtor-owned MLSs, you can no longer reflect the buyer's agent commission in that system. If nowhere in this does it say you can't put a buyer's agent commission in the deal. Let me ask you a question, Ron.
Which is fascinating because right there, you would think that most of the time when there's a lawsuit and when the Department of Justice is involved,
yep,
usually the idea is to enhance or protect somebody,
the consumer, right?
The consumer.
Mm-hmm.
And does it not become less transparent when you're not showing what the commissions are?
Completely less transparent, and that's why everybody has it wrong. Everybody's saying that buyer's agent commissions have to be paid by the buyer now. That's not true. Everybody's saying that the buyer has to sign an exclusive to work with a certain buyer's agent. That's not true. The DOJ and certainly NAR does not have the authority to say that every buyer out there has to sign a contract with some buyer's agent. That is completely untrue in every way, shape, or form. Now, the thing about it is, let me ask you a question. If you are listing a house, Ron, does the commission come from the MLS? Is that where it comes from? No, it comes from your contract.
No, it's come from the contract. Sure.
Exactly. So how can the MLS, NAR, or anybody else like that say that can't happen anymore? That's not what they're saying. That's not true. What's happening is they're just saying that in certain MLSs, you can't display the commission. That's the only thing we've lost.
It's pretty dumb, isn't it?
The dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I mean, you think that why would you say, okay, we can't show it, but it can still be there? Because, in my looking at it, now all of the research I've done, in the last 3 days getting ready for this, I've watched, many attorneys, many pundits. They all say exactly what you're saying. Not what you're saying as far as that we can still do things as we have. What they're saying is, you can't have the buyer's agreement, but it doesn't say that in the you can't have the commission disclosed, which that is in the agreement. Doesn't say you can't have this commission.
It only says you can't disclose the commission in certain MLSs.
Which is here's the dumbest part.
You can display it anywhere else. Are they saying that if you send out a flyer to buyer's agents, you can't display the buyer's agent commission? No, you can do it all in one.
You can even put it on your own. One of the areas I saw is if you have a website.
Yeah.
So if XYZ Real Estate has their own website and they have a listing under that brokerage,
right?
They can put the buyer's commission on there.
It doesn't even have to be their brokerage. I can have on my website. Okay, I can put your brokerage. Okay, your listing from your brokerage. Your brokerage A. I'm brokerage B. Okay, I have nothing to do with you. On my website, I can advertise your listing and your buyer's agent commission on my website. How can they restrict that? The only place it can't be is realtor-owned MLSs. That's it.
which is all it really means is that somebody's got to go through and do a little bit, one extra step of work.
Right. All you got to do. I mean, why can't? It's the dumbest thing in the world. We all know. And by the way, if you are an agent out there and you're going to go and tell your clients, your sellers, that buying agent commission is no longer, you are an idiot. And you are shooting yourself in your own foot, stabbing yourself in your own back, and cutting your own throat, because next month you're going to be the buyer's agent. So do not do that. Whether buyer's agents agency survives or dies is based on the listing agent. Here's my message. Do things exactly how you have been doing them. Take a listing. Say, Mr. Seller, hey, Ron, you're my seller. How much commission would you like to pay me? 3%. Thank you so much. How much would you like to pay the buyer's agent? Well, that's not legal anymore. Absolutely incorrect. You can put any buyer's agent commission you want on this contract, this listing, this agreement right here. The only thing that's not going to happen is it's not going to be reflected on certain MLSs, but I'm going to certainly go out there and market the house, because that's my job anyway. I should be marketing the house, selling the house based on the fact that you're going to put a buyer's agent commission, so the best buyer's agents bring their best buyers and give you the best offers. So how much do you want to put on the buying side? Well, if you put it that way, I'll go ahead and put 3% on the buy side too. Fantastic. Thank you very much. I'm going to go out and tell every buyer's agent through text, email, zip my flyer, office meetings, caravan, and every other way in the world that, hey, buyer's agents, I've got a 3% buy side on this house. No, it's not going to be in the MLS, which is basically just one avenue of advertising the buy side commission. That's it. That's all you've lost. That is the only thing that's changed, folks. Everything else is the same.
And the irony of this whole thing is, when you go on the internet, most people are going to go to Zillow to get bad information. I mean, that's just my opinion, but they're going to go to Zillow. They're going to go to whoever comes up in the Google feeds.
Yep.
All of that information is coming from the MLS, right? For the most part. I mean, there's some other aggregators, but for the vast majority of it, those companies are all scraping the MLS to get the data.
Yeah,
showing the pictures and whatnot, and nothing's going to change other than the fact that one field is missing.
Well, here's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. If I'm a listing agent, okay, and I can't put the commission on the MLS anymore, because here's why: all these aggregators, Zillow, Open Door, OfferPad, all these aggregators, where do they get their information? They get it from the MLS.
Right.
So what's stopping me, if I'm Zillow, saying, hey, agents, come to Zillow and put your buy side commission on Zillow? Isn't that the 800-pound gorilla in the room?
Right.
Because it goes from the agent to the MLS to Zillow. Okay, screw the MLS, everybody. Okay, and quit being a slave to the National Association of Realtors. They don't make the laws. They don't make the rules. It's a club, potentially and at least theoretically owned by you. But now they're telling you what you can't do. It's completely backwards. Okay, this is the tail wagging the dog here.
Now, what happens if you are part of the MLS? Or a part of the National Association of Realtors, and they're saying, well, if you want to be part of us, you got to follow our rules. We're going to talk about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
79% of all credit reports have errors that should be corrected through factual disputing. You could be saving thousands every year if your report was accurate. CreditSanitizer.com provides a free credit report audit when you furnish a specific $1 credit report. You can use this information to request corrections to your report and potentially save thousands of dollars. Get your free credit audit at CreditSanitizer.com. That's CreditSanitizer.com for a free credit report audit. CreditSanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. I'm going to change up a little bit because I can. So in our real-time real estate segment, I want to share with you, if you are thinking about selling a home, I'm going to tell you this because I can, and I don't get paid for it. I don't get any kudos. If you're using an agent that is not a member of the Career Compass, you're in trouble. You're not going to maximize your sales price. And Josh, let's put up the URL that I have there, rsrlinks.com/C4, rsrlinks.com/C4. Now, I don't know about you. My son spends way too much money at Starbucks. But for the cost of his daily Starbucks habit, you can get some tremendous guidance from the Career Compass as part of their C4 membership. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute with Beef. But my opinion, I've gone to a lot of their seminars, probably more than most people. They probably get tired of seeing me. But the bottom line is they're showing agents how to maximize the sales price of the property. And I'm going to be the first to say it. I've never been there once when they've proposed using a 6% commission. They never proposed the 6%. So if you want to understand how to get, and they always show how the seller gets more money net after commissions, after all expenses, the seller is going to make more money by marketing a property properly. So if your agent just be a question, ask them, are they a member of Career Compass and do they participate in the C4 program? And oh, by the way, if you are using our team, we'll get that property put on TV for you as well. The idea here is the more marketing you get of your property, the better price you're going to get, the most value you're going to get. That's the real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Continue our conversation, Beef Wellington, from the aforementioned Career Compass. Am I right in saying, I don't go to all your seminars?
Well, first off, we never get tired of seeing you, Ron. So I always look forward to seeing you at all of our seminars. And in fact, a lot of times I have you quote something from the crowd. That way, it gives a little bit of credibility because everybody knows you're an expert.
But I appreciate that. But you don't ever really propose a 6% commission, do you?
No, what I propose is, okay, let me explain this way. The idea that cutting real estate commissions puts more money in the seller's pocket is a lie from the pit of Hades, folks. Here's the thing. When you put a heavily incentivized buyer side commission on the deal, what happens? All the buyers want to sell that house. All the buyers want to show that house. All the buyers' agents want to make offers on their house, and they automatically make offers higher and more often and quicker than other offers. That's what your job is. Your job in a nutshell is to get the highest offer. And we have this thing, like Ron just mentioned, called the 7% technique. And let me tell everybody this right now. If you do not know the 7% technique, you are lost in real estate, especially after what happened on Friday. The cure for what you're dealing with is the 7% technique. Absolutely 100%. This will save your career. And on top of that, if you do not know what a commission override clause is and how it goes in the notes section, additional comment section, or remark section of your contract, that's you as a listing agent getting a bonus based on how well you sold the house. If you do not know how to put commission override clauses in your contracts, you need to sprint to the next Career Compass Success Seminar, which, by the way, is going to be April 23rd and 24th at Pechanga Resort and Casino. And we're going to be having one in August as well at the Tustin Convention Center there in the Tustin Marketplace. Amazing. So you need to sprint those. If you do not know what the 7% technique is, a commission override, if you do not know what the deal a week technique is, if you do not know what a broken condo project is, if you don't know what your EAT, your PAT, if you do not know what the lawyer letter technique is, you are absolutely lost in this business. And you need to learn these things. These will save your career and explode your business.
It's fascinating to me, especially because I'm not a realtor. I'm not a member of NAR. I'm not a member of CAR. I have a real estate license. Like many other people, I'm not qualified to use it. I needed it for a lender that I worked with in the past. But I go and learn these things to help share them with others. And the fact of the matter is if you understand marketing, which is all you're really teaching people there is how to market the property properly. Easy for me to say. And the concept is that regardless of this settlement, which the National Association of Realtors has come to, and it's going to cost a lot of money to the National Association of Realtors, and some of the biggest real estate firms out there are going to pay a boatload of money. But do you care? Right? As a consumer, does it mean anything to you if you own 123 Main Street, you're getting divorced and you want to get the most money possible from the property, do you care? Or, you know, and Beef, one of the things that I saw in some of the settlement notes is they were worried about steering, where buyer's agents would be taking somebody to the place that they're getting the largest commission.
Okay. Well, I mean, does money matter? I mean, does anybody get in this business because you just want to help people? Of course you do, but you also got in this business to be paid, and that's the same reason that these lawyers who are suing us got into their business. If there was no money in being a lawyer, do you think how many lawyers there'd be? There'd be none.
Right.
That's the whole point. You go to work every day because you're being paid. So if money matters, then more money matters more. That's just the way it goes. Okay, that's called marketing. Okay, I mean, rarely does the very best product in the world sell the most. Look at Madonna. She's one of the most average singers in the world, yet she sold more albums. You want to know why? Marketing. That's what we are being hired to do, is market the house. We have to quit being ashamed of the fact that we are being hired to market the house to get the most amount of money. That's what we've been hired to do. So as far as steering goes, okay, folks, that's ridiculous. When you go into a grocery store, are you being steered?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're being steered to their products. Of course they are. Okay? I mean, you go into Costco and you're being steered towards what? Okay, Signature brand or whatever.
Kirkland brand.
Kirkland Signature brand. You're being steered all the time. So my point is that a buyer's agent is not going to take a buyer to a house that doesn't fit the criteria of that buyer. And how many times has a buyer's agent taken a buyer to a house that fits most of their criteria, but hey, I just want you to see this one, and they end up buying it because they love it?
Sure.
And half the time, these buyers don't even know what they could afford, what they need. And when they see it, they're like, oh, that'd be great. So the whole idea of steering, the whole idea that agents are only going to show houses that have huge commissions and not ever show houses that have low commissions is ridiculous. There's so many more facets that happen in a buying situation than just the commission. But let me ask you this. If you're a seller, okay, let's talk about this. If you're a seller, do you want your house shown first more often and sold heavily by the buyer's agents out there? Of course you do.
Sure.
And that's the idea. And by the way, that's your fiduciary responsibility. And this is actually good for the economy. So I'm amazed that the Department of Justice, that's supposedly supposed to be looking out for our economy in this country, is against this, because I got news for you. Your job is to get the most money for the house if you're a listing agent. That pushes comps up, that pushes prices up, that pushes equity up, that pushes the economy up.
And net wealth.
Okay, and
right?
net wealth, exactly, and net wealth. And by the way, Zillow and all the other aggregators, they push things down because they come in and buy houses for 80, 90% of value. You know what that does? That creates a low comp every single time, and it erodes equity. So this is the most ridiculous thing. This is anti, it's anti-consumer, because we should be pushing prices up, equity up, and everything else like that, because, oh, well, the buyer's paying too much. No, they're not, because when they go sell the house, they're going to get all that money back plus some.
Well, the buyer's paying too much. Is somebody twisting their arm? Right? They're getting the house. The reason that it gets bid up is because they want the property.
Exactly. The house is worth it. All houses sell for its true value. That's how it works. Okay. Ron has said it many times. How much is a house worth? A house is worth what a willing buyer will pay a willing seller. Period. End of story. That's how we establish the price of gold, price of houses, the price of gas, the price of this. I mean, if everybody stopped driving, do you think the price of gas would come down? Hell yeah, it would.
Yeah, a lot.
So that's my point. Okay? All houses sell for their true value. Otherwise, it wouldn't be their true value. They wouldn't sell for that.
Now, what's going to be the response, Beef, of some of the agents that say, well, I'm a member of the National Association of Realtors, so I have to follow everything they tell me to do?
Well, what are they telling you to do? Are they telling you to not put a commission on the buy side? No, that's what you think they're telling you to do. All they're telling you is that you no longer can reflect the commission you are and should put on the buy side on the MLS. That's the only thing they're saying. They cannot tell you that you can't put a commission on the buy side. That's not within their authority. They cannot tell you to do that. Okay, let me.
A lot of people are forgetting the concept of. They don't teach it anymore. But when you and I were young, Beef, they used to have the Saturday morning commercials that we all used to watch.
Yeah.
And they had that one little commercial that, I'm a bill, and Bill goes to Congress, and
I'm just a bill sitting on Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
Let me ask everybody a question here. Okay. For all you people that think that NAR is telling you that you cannot put a commission on the buy side, I want to ask you a question. What right and what authority does NAR have to tell a seller that they cannot put a commission on the buy side?
Yeah, it does. Well, I think the only thing in the settlement, and ironically enough, no one's really reflecting it. One of the state comments in the settlement, and again, they don't have the right to create law. But one of the comments in the settlement says that the agents cannot double dip. And what they mean by double dip is you can't charge the buyer a commission and collect a commission from the seller as well. So right there in itself says that the seller can be paying a commission.
Okay. So is NAR saying that you can't double end a property? Is that now a law amongst the entire land? So in other words, in every state.
They're not saying that they can't double it, because there's some states that have that law. But they're not saying you can't double it. But the buyer's agent can't collect from both sides, is all they're saying in that settlement.
They're saying that the buyer's agent can't collect a commission from their buyer and from the seller.
Right.
Seller. Where does the National Association of Realtors have the authority and the law making regulatory power to say that? They don't. Okay, I got news for you. NAR is a club, folks. It is a club that you pay to represent you. That's now not representing you, and you're still paying them to represent you, even though they're not representing you. Okay, they cannot say that you cannot put a commission on the buy side. Now, buyer's agents used to make 2.5%, right? So in other words, if the buyer says, "Sure, I'll pay you 1% to represent me," and then the seller says, "I'll put a 1.5% commission on the buy side, equaling 2.5," they can't do that now, even though it's exactly what they used to be getting paid. That's ridiculous.
Which, ironically enough, one of the real large real estate coaches basically professes that, hey, you get a buyer's agreement signed and you negotiate your fees with the buyer, and whatever you can get the seller to pay, the buyer just supplements.
Right.
So if you agree with the buyer, if the buyer says, I'm willing to pay you 4%, and the listing says 2%, well, then the buyer pays 2%, right? So that to come to the 4%. Pretty simple stuff. Whether, according to the National Association of Realtors and in this settlement, they're saying you can't go both ways. So we'll see what happens there. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. More with Beef Wellington Pendell. If you got questions, put them in the comments. We will try to get to them. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Is your budget getting blown up with high prices of gas and increased costs for other household needs? This is Ron Siegel, host of the daily home and finance radio program. Did you know if you have a low interest rate mortgage along with auto debt, credit card debt, or student loans, your family could potentially save $500 or more per month by restructuring these debts? If you'd like a free Borrow Smart analysis with our team, let's book an appointment to see how we might be able to relieve some stress. Schedule an appointment at rsrbsa.com. That's rsrbsa.com for your free Borrow Smart analysis. rsrbsa.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Borrow Smart segment brought to you by rsrdebtfree.com, rsrdebtfree.com. Do you have more than 2 months worth of unsecured debts? If so, or if you know somebody that does, let's chat. Let's put together a strategy. Debt consolidation might be the strategy. Maybe you need to renegotiate with some of your creditors. That might be the strategy. And unfortunately, in some extreme instances, bankruptcy is the strategy. Going sleepless is not the strategy. Putting your head in the sand is not the strategy. There are solutions, and you just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Borrow Smart, brought to you by rsrdebtfree.com, rsrdebtfree.com. Continuing our conversation this morning, Beef Wellington from the Career Compass is with us. He is the self-proclaimed #1 trainer in the state of California for real estate agents. And you know something, I've gone to a lot of his seminars. There's a whole lot of people there that are learning a lot of stuff to help the consumer. And it's ironic because the fact of the matter is, a lot of times when somebody steps outside of the box, people look at them and say they're wrong or they're doing things deceitfully, and sometimes you have to take a step back and say, why? Does it make sense? If I step back and just listen with an open mind, does it make sense to me? Does it pass the smell test? Right? And we go through this in politics all the time, but when we're listening to Beef and some of the comments and the thoughts that he's sharing, if you just think, instead of saying, well, this is the way we've done it forever, maybe you might find out there's a better way out there. Elon Musk did it, right? He thought that maybe there's a better way to get a rocket ship up there and reuse the darn thing, right? They said for years and years, decades, oh, it's a one and done. They're $10 million, $1 billion disposable units, right? Think about that. Beef's coming at this with a whole different perspective. And, if you've got commentary and you think that he's giving you bum advice, put it in the comments. Let's chat about it. That's what America's all about. I appreciate you coming and bringing a different perspective.
My pleasure.
Because it makes sense to me.
Oh, and by the way, we're not self-proclaimed number one. Actually, we're actually objectively that.
Okay.
The Career Compass trains more real estate agents face-to-face than any company in the state of California. That's an objective.
There it is.
Okay? And last year, we actually got an award. So we're actually authentically an award-winning seminar.
Wow.
We got best real estate training by the California legislature. So those are objective.
Nice.
Those are not self-proclaimed.
And you know something, I could say it's my show. So anyway, but every time I go there, and the only reason I go so often, Beef, it's, I like you, I like your
and
team.
we have an open bar. That's why.
And the open bar. But, even as a lender, I learn something new every time.
Yeah, and for those of you who are not familiar with the Career Compass, if you're a realtor, you have to come to Career Compass. Let me explain what it does. You will be getting training that you can't get anywhere else, like the 7% technique, like the commission override clause, all these things that I mentioned. You're going to be getting that training. On top of that, you're going to be in a room with 300 to 500 agents. So you're going to be networking with those other agents and getting referrals. On top of that, our certified continuing education provider company basically renews your license through their independent process. So you get that. And then after you go to the seminar once, you're a member for life. You get to come back for free, for life, forever. We do 6 to 8 of them every single year. And we have Ron's favorite, the open bar. So it doesn't get any better than that, folks. And a lifetime ticket, a one-time fee for a lifetime ticket at Career Compass is $195. Best deal in the history of real estate.
Something, I might challenge you on that one.
Okay.
Because my favorite is actually $20 a month.
Okay. Well, we also have a coaching program.
Before you get there, Josh, put up the link for me, please. rsrlinks.com/C4.
Yep. We actually have for people who have been to the seminar or not been to the seminar that want ongoing training, mentoring, and all kinds of crazy, awesome benefits. We actually have something called C4. That's CAT 4, meaning it stands for Career Compass Concierge Connection, which is our training, our trainers, guest speakers like Ron Siegel and other people every single month, tax reduction, improved Google search, and all these amazing benefits for, ready for this, $19. So when you said your son's Starbucks habit, it's not your son's Starbucks habit. It's only your son's Starbucks habit for a couple of days.
For a day.
Yeah, for a day or two. That's about it. For $19 a month. And the number one comment we get on our coaching program is it's better than $1,000 a month coaching, and it's $19. And by the way, there's no contract. If you don't like it, you can quit anytime you want.
Well, and again, I'm not doing a sales pitch for them. It's something I seriously believe in. My thought is, if you go out there and talk to thousands of people every month, and you're able to, and I always love it because coaches in a lot of these industries, they go out and they talk to thousands of people, they accumulate the data, and they come back and regurgitate it for a fee.
Right.
In the C4 program, it's firsthand, right? So a lot of the time, I know you do some of the training there, but some of the other trainers are actually the people that are out there doing it themselves.
Oh, all of them are. We have trainers like Tom Days, Jim Zers, Bill Kanoki, who are absolutely the experts in the industry. We have the number one person in almost every area of real estate as one of our trainers. Okay. For example, the biggest opportunity you'll ever have as a real estate agent is the senior market. They own 80% of all the real estate in the United States is owned by baby boomers and above. One of our main trainers at our seminar and in our C4 program is a man named Jim Zers. He's the number one senior market trainer in the entire world, in my opinion. He's written 3 books on how real estate agents can get into the senior market. It's amazing.
And if you listened to us yesterday, you probably heard Eric Bell saying that, this year, more people are turning 65 than any other time in history. So think about that concept. And, again, when our topic today is the National Association of Realtors settlement, there's a lot of people that are worried out there about this. A lot of buyers are out there saying, okay, now, am I going to have to come out of pocket, for the commission to buy a house, or am I going to have to go without representation? The bottom line is if the agents understand what we're doing and what we're sharing this morning, you don't have to change anything at all. All you need to do is find an agent that understands how to operate in the marketplace.
Exactly right. This doesn't change anything other than the fact that certain MLSs are not going to show your buyer's agent commission. It does not mean you can't put a commission on the buy side. In fact, you should more now than ever, because there's going to be agents out there that don't understand this, they're very misinformed and are not going to put buy side commissions out there. So when you do put a buy side commission, especially when you put a 4% commission on the buy side, like we teach you to do with the 7% technique, you're not going to have added demand. You're not going to have a feeding frenzy. You're now going to have an offer mania from all the buyers agents out there. Let me ask you a question.
Before we go there, Beef, because I know we only have a minute or two left. One of the things I want to get into our conversation is the thought of me as if I'm a listing real estate agent. I go and list a piece of property. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do everything I can to market that property properly.
Right.
But I am one person.
Okay.
I might be a team, but I'm still one person. Okay. If I can follow the guidance that you're sharing and maximize the compensation to the other 1.5 million, I think there's about 1.5 million agents in California. If I can maximize the incentive to them to go out and show my property.
Well, there's 1.5 million agents in the United States. There's 423,000 in the state of California.
Okay.
So just get the numbers, just so we kind of understand. Yeah. Let me ask, okay, you're a buyer's agent, Ron. What would you rather do? Would you rather try to go and get an exclusive signed, and I'll talk about that in a second, exclusive signed agreement with your buyer who they have to now pay you? Or would you rather go take your buyer who's not paying you anything and show them a 4% buy side house? Which one would you rather do?
I'd rather show them the 4%. It's better for my buyer.
It's better for your buyer. And
they don't have 4% of $1 million. That's 40 grand.
Exactly.
They don't have that on top of their down payment to come out and do
these
it.
Buyers don't have that. And this whole idea that the National Association of Realtors says you must have a buyer's agent, a signature contract signed, is ridiculous. They have no authority to make a buyer sign an exclusive. And by the way, we've been telling buyers that our commission is free on the buy side for the last 30 years. Now every media outlet is telling all our buyers that we're a bunch of crooks. And now we're going to go back to them and say, not only are we a bunch of crooks, but you have to pay me now. Do you really think buyers are going to sign that exclusive? Are you kidding me? That is a pipe dream. That's a joke.
Absolutely. So the bottom line here is it's better for me as the buyer to have the commission built in. It's better for me as the seller to give an incentive to the other 400,000 real estate agents, because I can't I can't work as hard as incentivizing 400,000 people to go out there and promote the property. Impossible. So this all have to be questions. As a consumer advocate, I'm going to tell you, these are the questions you need to be asking to the agents that you may be interviewing for helping you buy a house, right? Do they know where they can go and talk to an agent who's actually going to, pay them so you don't have to? Now, I know it comes out of your money anyway, right? The buyer, no matter what, do you really believe that McDonald's pays for the cup, or do they build it into the cost of your Coke, right? It comes out of the buyer's side. So the buyer's paying it. The question is, do you have to dip into your pocket, or can you finance it? Can the veteran be able to go and buy a house, or the veteran can be left out based on guidelines now? These are all issues that are going on. If you want more information on this, we're going to have a link set up. We'll have a dashboard put together. We might even put a copy of this show, and if I can get more from Beef, we'll put that on there as well. But make sure you tune in here so you can keep on top of this at all times. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And, of course, special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, Call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.